Good morning. It's not even morning anymore. It's like 1 or 2 p.m. I've been kind of not as good at remembering to vlog things just because I've been with other people a ton lately, not having a ton of alone time, which, is great for me, great for my well-being. No, it depends on who I'm with, I think, more than anything. Like, if I'm feeling energized or not, it depends on if I'm with people that give me energy or take it. And unfortunately, it's been more generally speaking the latter, just the way that the energy goes. I'm saying that like weird, like energy, it's just like the amount of myself that I have, and um it's just exhausting lately. I did get sick. I'm doing better now. It wasn't an allergic reaction. It was like a you can't really see it, but it was basically like burst blood vessels from throwing up so hard, which is great. So I'm doing a lot better now. Today has been all right so far, not too bad. But in bad news, the sister that I haven't seen in 2.5 years isn't able to come for this weekend. So, or this week in general, she was supposed to come in today, but the flights got kind of messy, and so they ended up canceling it. And um, yeah, I'm still bummed by that. Yeah, I haven't seen her in 2.5 years, and I haven't met my niece yet. Um, and it's a shame. Like, it is a shame, and it's gonna be a while before that's an option again. She says she's planning to come down in like spring or summer. I can't afford to go out to Colorado anytime soon, and it's just gonna be a while again. Especially if I get the job that I want to get and I'm in Japan next year, it might be even longer. So I'm trying not to think too much about that though, because the probability is I'll see her before then, and if I don't, I'll be okay. Like, I will be okay. It is hard, I think, to try to balance. With her, it's hard to not overshare. And I think with a lot of people, it can be hard to feel that out and know what is appropriate and when is not. We just don't have that close of a relationship where sharing that kind of stuff feels great. I think I vlogged a little bit after I talked to her last, but I didn't feel good. I did not feel like I shared the amount that I felt comfortable sharing. I didn't feel like I was respecting myself in the way that I talked about things. And honestly, like, there's things she just doesn't need to know. I love her, but there's some people that just there's only one part of their life that or your life that you get to share with them. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to share everything with everyone. And like I talked about before, like there's a lot of me out there. Like there's a lot of me that I'm sharing with the world now, but there's still a good deal that is, not not gonna make sense to some people. Um, and that's okay. It's okay not to understand the mathematical, like I talked about the math wall with the entire history of math. I'm gonna recap it really quick for a second. So this project that the Eames, Charles and Ray Eames did, um, was they took the entire history of math and put it up as like a museum exhibition on a wall. And so as people were going through it, they could stop at whatever point they wanted to. But the entire history of math for like all of mankind was on this wall. So, and some of it Charles Eames didn't even understand. But the idea is you go as far as you can and you don't dumb yourself down to make yourself more palatable. So the math equations aren't wrong just because you don't understand them. Just like I'm not wrong just because people don't understand me. Um, I don't know what I'm. There's no really point to what I'm talking about just now, but yeah, it's been a rough couple days. I'm not not gonna lie, it's been a really rough. Like yesterday, being so sick. The day before that, getting the atom bomb of of a letter that I wasn't expecting. But I know it wasn't intended for me, but the fact that I still like it was intended for, you know, my sisters and like and it was I think what my mom would have wanted to say, but that doesn't make it, it should have been shared with like my dad and a counselor, and not directly to me and my siblings. So, yeah, I think that's part of why I went down so hard when I did get sick. The shock of processing that, the shock that's still processing in my brain and body, trying to understand everyone and empathize with everyone, and including myself, and trying to be patient and take care of myself. I don't know how to do that very well, apparently. I watched Parasite last night. That was kind of cool. It was a really good movie. I liked it a lot. It was really interesting commentary on classism and the different levels and status, and so much quality content there that I can't even like begin to talk about. It's just ridiculous the way that like the system, is set up to make the rich richer and the poor poorer. It sounds like really dumb. Like we've set these things up, and I don't know. Calling it something like a system makes it feel like something that can change. And I think that that's more comforting than the idea that it's something that we just have to accept and live under. But I think that any idea taken too far is unhealthy. There's no one right answer that will protect people while also, allowing people to grow. I don't think there's one right answer, because even in the best system, there's still human greed. But anyway, that was just a random thought on like Parasite. Not really done processing it. Honestly, it's a very sudden like film that has so much depth to it. It's so beautiful and interesting. But guys, my soul wearies of lengthy discourse. Like, I want to say less. I just want to say less in general, and let my complexity stay complex. Let my mystery be unexplored for the moment. Let me be myself and exist separate from other people. I don't have to share everything. I don't even have to talk about the complexities that are going on in my life right now with my family, unless I feel like I can or I have to with certain people. But let the complexities be complexities. Let the mysteries be mysteries, and sit with not knowing. Even if you do know a little bit, that knowledge is only a greater understanding of how little knowledge you truly have about the world. I'm sort of a little bit obsessed with like psychology and social movements and other things about humanity, and it's from being able to take so many good classes in college that explore these topics in depth in ways that I'll never have time in my lifetime to fully understand. Really just, those classes were just a very like, all right, we're going to spend 5 minutes talking about this really huge complex issue and then move on. But as with anything, there's so much more to it than that. And even like the Dunning-Kruger effect or whatever it's called, I can't even remember that. Like, there's so much to it that we don't understand. But we still have to say something, like we still have to make some statements even though they're wrong sometimes. Because even the best theories are still a space for doubt. There's still room for doubt, and even laws get broken sometimes. I mean that in scientific laws, not in like the law of, because of course those get broken. But yeah, I don't know. All science does and all the psychology does and all those things can do is study what already exists. The harder work is seeing what could be in the pain and what's possible despite the obstacles. That's spiritual, like that's the world of optimism, and all that stuff has to come from, not from the foundation of what has been, but what could be. And when you get into the world of imagination, when you get into the world of, let's imagine, I think that inherently ties with it some level of what if what we've done so far is wrong? Like, doubt and questioning is inherent to growth. But I think there's also definitely an underpinning, like, not necessarily spiritual in like an overly simplified sense, but you know, I honestly don't see how you can be a dreamer without having a good foundation for dreaming. I don't know. It's kind of all I'm thinking about right now, except there was, like, I don't know, my energy just got stolen from me a little while ago, from just, like, little comments that it's just, like, when people say things and they don't really know what they're talking about, it does, and I don't really know what I'm talking about either, but sometimes if things are used inappropriately, it does kind of exhaust me. Um, and some might say that's like the 4-wing 5 in me, just Enneagram stuff, which again is another one of those Dunning-Kruger things, like the fact that it exists, the fact that it's an observable reality doesn't prove anything because everyone's constantly changing and your Enneagram can change a ton. There's tons of variations in it. So even that is not something to depend on for identity. And it's not an excuse for behavior that's inappropriate and holding you back. Just like in introversion and extroversion, and that's why I struggle so much with those things, is because I'll often use them as an excuse not to try or change myself or challenge myself. Like, if I know this about myself, that's all I've ever been up to this point. It's all observational. There's no room for or capacity for development and change and growth, which we know in the current, neuroscience that people are constantly changing. If we didn't believe that learning was an option, why would we have schools? And everything we know up to this point is learned. So, and I will say there are some underpinning like personality traits. I'm not saying that you don't, have those already, but all I'm saying is like you don't want to use extroversion or introversion as an excuse to be unhealthy or not to try or not to grow yourself. But anyway, it's okay not to know everything, but it's also don't use a word that has a lot of power behind it to put other people down or to argue your point. I don't like that. I maybe have done it in the past, but education is powerful, but it's also dangerous for that reason, that people who know more do have power. You have to wield that wisely. To educate, to teach, not to control or destroy or put others down. Bring them alongside you, This is great. Preaching by, I don't know if preaching is the right word, speech by MLK Jr. talking about this. And I only took a few notes because I listened to a quote from it, so it wasn't even like the whole thing. But it was talking about how people can attack our physical, but we can meet the physical with soul healing. Anybody can do what they will, but we will still choose to love. But we also won't become passive to the unjust, in his case, segregation laws. Be assured we will wear you down and win you in the process. I love that. Win you in the process. Wearing people down with kindness. This is, also what the Bible talks about with the heaping burning coals on their head. That's not judgment. That's not painful. It's purification. It's saving them and bringing them alongside you, because no person is our enemy. No people group is our enemy. Nobody that we know on earth is the enemy. So we will win a double victory by winning both the idea of liberation from the situation, but also to bring alongside those who have been enacting that unjust system. I think that's what's been lacking a little bit in a lot of cases. We have to stand up but we're also not fighting the people who have been putting us down. We're pointing them. We know that them putting other people down is also extremely damaging to them. So it's also from love that we assist. It's from love that we encourage, and it's from love that we rebuke those things. And not in the love sense of punishment and therefore development, but in the idea of drawing them towards truth so that they can for themselves experience peace and healing. Yeah. I'm honestly really, I don't want to talk about this too much longer, but I've been very angry about the things that have been happening, but I don't want to be angry at the people. It's the beliefs that they hold and the ways that their lives are being controlled by those things. It's hard. It's honestly really hard. But I'm gonna call that for now, but I'll catch you guys later.
They weren't out there at all. Either they're doing it. Is it burnt out? Yeah. I got more right here. Wow.
See, Ronnie, round. Round is the future. The future is round.
But I need one round.
I'm actually leaving early.